The Adventurer's Log 1.1107.20. Hi, I'm Bobby. I'm your host, and today is a special day, a special Adventurer's Log, for two reasons. A, it is in 7 Day. And number two, I have a guest adventurer with me. One of my best friends, Wes, is with me, and here he is. We will get to the N7 news in a moment, but before that, we went ahead and we watched the Mass Effect tie-in movie, Mass Effect Paragon Lost, which is set between Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3. And, and it has a character that you will somewhat recognize in the film if you've not seen it, James Vega, played by Freddie Prinze Jr. He is actually the only voice actor that is in that movie and the games. All the other voice actors, they did their best to kind of make them similar, but it was done after Mass Effect 3 was already finished, and they wanted to give a little bit more of a backstory for James. But I liked it a lot. So, Wes, what did you think of the film?
So, I loved the really campy banter, the same kind of banter that would normally put me off any other kind of traditional anime film. This one really pulled it in and exemplified how close a military unit should be and how they need to think and move as a team. I was also really impressed and kind of terrified by how dark it could get at sometimes. It was not shy about really playing into some emotional elements about having to make difficult choices and lose people that you care about, and the aftermath of not being able to deal with the choice that you made.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm really not going to go into the spoilers about it because it's a lot. But there's a point at the end that Vega chose to save the information about the collectors over the colonists because he felt like that was the right thing to do for the galaxy. And at the very end, he runs, or he goes back to the planet that he was at where the colonists were all killed, and he basically is running into the giant, destruction pit, and he runs into a guy, and he says, "I'm sorry" to the guy, but really he's screaming out to all of the colonists. He says, "I'm sorry." And as he's running, we're hearing quotes from Admiral Hackett and Admiral Anderson. For exemplary service to the Alliance, you're being commended. You are a hero. You're the hell of a leader, the best of the best. And then it jumps to scenes from the colonists. And it says, "He promised. Close your eyes, baby. Mommy, we're still here. We need to evacuate now. Vega, what do we do, man? What did you do, man? No! I made this choice. I made the choice. I abandoned them to die. I didn't know how to save you. I'm sorry. I would have given my life if I could. There just wasn't enough time." Well, I did a very poor impression, obviously. But he holds himself for the death of innocence, not necessarily just the young girl April who he's adopted as his little sister, and he took care of, but also for every single colonist there, every single one of his team that didn't survive. And that's the difference between our current military and this military in the alliance, because in the video game world, you can be a little bit lax on how things are perceived, and in this you can get away with allowing 30 to 100 colonists getting killed over saving some data that will help the galaxy down the road. And in our day and age, in our military, the person would be court-martialed and then put in jail. We'd never heard from again. So that's the difference that I do see between the video game military and our military. But at the same time, I feel it's a tribute to all the servicemen and women that have to make a tough call, tough choice that benefits all of mankind at the cost of others. And to quote from Star Trek, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. As silly of a quote as that is for me to put with Mass Effect, that is very true, and that's what exemplifies the N7 program, which is the top of the top of the top of the military branch in the Mass Effect game series. Anything else that you want to throw in there, Wes?
Well, now that you put me on the spot, what I really enjoyed was how even the creature race, the mercenary race, has his
the Krogan.
The Krogan.
Yeah.
He has his moment of redemption, and no one in this movie is one whole thing or another, wholly good or wholly bad. I think the characters are well-rounded in that sense, although I would like to see a little more depth from individual characters as they mesh together. As a unit, I think they're well-rounded.
I definitely agree, and as someone who's never played the games, what are your opinions on this whole franchise and the story concept of good choices versus bad choices, to advance the storyline, but also to develop your character?
This differs entirely from any sci-fi that I'm familiar with. So right now I really feel that urge to go to the game store, the local game store, and try to find these games and ways to play them, whether they be on PS3, PS4. Were they available on PS2, or was that a little after?
No, it was on PS3,
Okay.
PS3 and Xbox 360.
Okay.
But that is a perfect segue for us to get into the news section. So I know this is a blurry image, but that was intentionally done. This image was actually released to a video game reviewer podcaster who actually worked specifically with gaming companies, and he released this a day or two ago. And as somebody who's not well versed in the Mass Effect games, you really can't tell what it is, but what it really is. Let's see here. Hold on one second. Is that right there?
It is.
So that is the image that BioWare has released for the Mass Effect Legendary Edition, which is the remaster version of the original trilogy. And there have been rumors that have been going around since basically March about this game series being remastered, and this is the first solid confirmation from BioWare. And with that, you're going to get all 3 games, and you get all of the DLC that comes with each game, as well as all little, costume packs or, this or that or whatever. But the DLCs alone add 20 plus hours of gameplay. So when it comes out in 2021, it's going to be for the current generation consoles, the PS4 and the Xbox One, the most advanced one they have so far. As well as they're going to release a PS5 version and a Xbox X. What is the Series X, or the upcoming generation of the Xbox?
I think it is the Series X.
Series X. So for people who've never played them, they'll get to play them on the current generation and the next generation models, as well as get to experience the story. Yes, it is a sci-fi story, and there are times that you're running and you're shooting, and it's kind of a first-person point of view. But the story alone is phenomenal, because you get to make choices. As you see on the screen, there's blue above me, and then there's red over here above Wes. That is the main concept of Mass Effect. You have 2 choices in life: Paragon, good, and Renegade, evil. And everything you do in any of the games, carries over from Mass Effect 1 to 2 and from 2 to 3, as well as your choices, everything. And it is the most diverse, again, in my opinion, most diverse game there has been made in the last 20 plus years. The old side scroller, or no, the 8-bit like journey, where like you can walk 10 paces forward and, oh look, a monster's in front of you. You have a stick in your hand and a rock in the other. What do you do? Well, yeah, you could type in like 30 different things, but if they've not been programmed, it doesn't do what you want it to do. So for me, this game series is the most realistic, albeit sci-fi type of D&D game out there, because anything can happen. Yes, there is a very loose storyline that you have to go by, but your choices can change the outcome. And I know a lot of people were not happy with the original ending of the 3rd Mass Effect, and oh my gosh, people freaked out. And you've got a choice to do this, that, or this, and I'm not going to give it away because that's a big spoiler. I'll tell you later if you want. But it's life shouldn't be, and for us it isn't, and I feel like it shouldn't be in a game, a happy ending. Like, yes, we as humans can have happy endings, but I'll be a little bit morbid. We will all die. Plain and simple. We will all die. And with this game, it kind of hits home. And this series has definitely been a love of mine for quite a long time, at least 10 years, or at least since the original game came out, because it's a game that I always go back to when I've got rough stuff going on in my life. I go back to it as a safety net. So yeah. Let's see what else I have here. So it is coming in spring 2021. Like I said, it's going to be for the current generations as well as the new generation games. With that, BioWare also announced they're coming out with a brand new Mass Effect game. They dropped a picture of a ship on a planet and people are walking away from it. That's it. And they said, it's in the works, but we can't really talk about it. So That definitely, for fans of the Mass Effect series that were not the biggest fans of the Andromeda game, which I myself loved, it was definitely a different take from the originals. Um, but I like that they're going back, from what I can tell, going back to the original style. So if you've not played it, check it out, or even wait till 2021 so you can get the new version. You're gonna have a little bit different gameplay. So yeah, check it out. What do you think, Wes?
I think that is something I will most definitely be investing in, because this one tribute film alone has got me hooked on the brand of sci-fi that Mass Effect features.
Yeah, yeah, and I've got, let's see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got just about all the books that they have. I have several of the comics that go with it. It's, I wouldn't say it's a cult because that's just silly to say about a game. But I what I will be putting in the description of this video is a link to the cast and crew did a video reunion today on N7 Day, which is the unofficial holiday because N7 is the top of the top of the top, but also because it's November 7th. Makes sense. But they did a live reunion thing where they talked about the impact of the game on their lives and answered questions from fans, as well as they went over some lines that were either made up or from the game series that people have been begging to hear again. And it was interesting because there's a point in there where the two shepherds, because you can play as female or male, they read the same line, but they split it down the middle, and it's like the big, brouhaha speech right before the end of the third game, and it choked me up because, like I said, this is one of my favorite game series ever. So I will be putting that link to that in the description. I'll also be putting, I believe, let's see here, be putting the trailer for the remastered edition. I don't have access to that at this moment, but I'll be putting the trailer there. And I'll also be putting Wes's link to his YouTube channel. Do you want to plug that real quick?
Well, I tell you what, since you've plugged it for me, you can just drop a link in the description and people can find out what I'm all about.
All right, and so I'm gonna put this picture up. That is, for those who don't know, and for Wes, that is the full crew. You've got Shepard in the middle, and then everybody NPCs that you interact with throughout the whole game series. So I've actually got that picture on my wall in my living room above my TV. So that's all we have for you today. I want to thank you, Wes, for coming by and nerding out with me for a little while.
Thank you for having me.
And so I shall end this as I always do, with just 1 second. Take a chance and explore something new or old, but new to you. Adventure is out there. Go find it. I'll see you next time. Bye.